Good morning, students. Today we will be discussing a very important topic, that is respiratory organs of Pila globosa, commonly known as pond snail or apple snail. Pila inhabits freshwater pond and lake and live most of the time in water but can also thrive well on land. So they are really amphibious in nature and exhibit double mode of respiration. That is, they absorb oxygen from water during aquatic respiration and utilize atmospheric air while living on land. The important organs for respiration in Pila are gill, pulmonary sac, and a pair of knuckle lobes. Myself, Dr. Balram Sai, Assistant Professor in Zoology, Government Dunga College, Bikaner. Respiratory organs of Pila globosa consist of a single ctenidium or gill, a pulmonary sac or lung, and a pair of knuckle lobes. Ctenidium or gill. The ctenidium or gill is the organ of aquatic respiration in Pila. The ctenidium is situated on the dorsolateral wall of the branchial chamber of the mantle cavity. This is the picture showing the respiratory organs in Pila. The mantle is partially displaced to show the position of gill. This is the gill and this is the pulmonary sac. It is composed of a long series of thin triangular leaflets or lamellae lying parallel to each other, as you can see in the picture. All the lamellae are arranged parallelly, which are attached to the mantle wall by their broad bases but have their apices hanging free in the branchial chamber. Here you can see the line of attachment of the lamellae to the wall of the mantle forms the ctenidial axis or the gill axis. This is the gill axis. The ctenidial axis is provided with an afferent blood vessel carrying deoxygenated blood and an efferent blood vessel carrying oxygenated blood from gills to heart. All the gill lamellae are not of the same size. You can see from the picture. The lamellae are bigger in size in the middle and decrease in size this way, and the similar pattern is observed here also. Such a gill is known as monopectinate gill. Each lamella bears transverse ridges or pleats on both its anterior and posterior surfaces. These pleats are low ridges gradually decreasing in size from the base of the lamella to its apex. Each ridge contains branches of blood vessels, and each lamella has a smaller right side which receives blood from the afferent vessel is called the afferent side, and the longer left side from which blood goes into the efferent vessel is called the efferent side. The ctenidium of Pila, though situated on the right side of the animal, is morphologically the gill of the left side, which has shifted to the right on account of the development of an extensive pulmonary sac on the left side. This is the pulmonary sac. This is shown by the blood supply and the innervation of the ctenidium and is further confirmed by the situation of the ospiridium, which still retains its original position on the left side of the animal. This is the ospiridium, this, which is a leaf-like structure, and it is a chemoreceptor which tests the chemical nature of water. Histologically, Each lamella appears to be a hollow cavity lined on either sides by the epithelium containing non-ciliated columnar cells, ciliated columnar cells, and a few glandular cells. The epithelial layer is followed by a thin basement membrane, below which are found connective tissue cells having scattered nuclei and oblique muscle fibers. Next is the pulmonary sac or lung. The pulmonary sac or lung is a closed cavity like a bag which hangs from the dorsal wall of the mantle in the pulmonary chamber. The dorsal wall of the pulmonary sac is densely pigmented while the ventral wall is creamy white. The walls of the sac are highly vascular, that is, richly supplied with blood vessels. The pulmonary sac communicates with the pulmonary chamber of the bronchial cavity by an aperture known as the pneumostome. Next are the knuckle lobes. The right and left pseudopodia or knuckle lobes are fleshy and highly contractile processes of the mantle on either side of the head. From the picture, TS of a portion of the outer wall of the pulmonary sac. Here you can see the basement membrane. Beneath the basement membrane is the external epithelial layer. These are the muscle fibers, connective tissue, blood spaces, and the endothelial layer. They form elongated funnels or siphons during respiration for the entry and exit of water. Next is the mechanism of respiration. There are two types of respiration in phyla, which are as follows. First is the aquatic respiration and the second is the aerial respiration. Aquatic respiration. True aquatic respiration takes place when the snail lies at the bottom of a pond or aquarium, when it is floating or lying suspended in mid-water, and when it is attached to plants or weeds in water. At this time, the head and the foot is fully extended and the two knuckle lobes further increase in size, and the left lobe takes the form of a distinct gutter in which a current of water flows, which will be more clear with the help of the picture. The left knuckle lobe, the right knuckle lobe, and they increase in size in which the water current flows. In aquatic respiration, a current of water enters the left knuckle lobe and first comes in contact with the ospiridium. This is the water current. First comes in contact with the ospiridium. This tests the chemical nature of water. If it's okay, then the water moves forward through the pulmonary chamber and passes through the ctenidium. The ctenidium takes in oxygen from the current of water. Here you can see the ctenidium takes in oxygen from the current of water and gives out carbon dioxide, which diffuses in water, and water finally moves out. So this is the pathway followed: water current entering, ospiridium checking the chemical nature of water, passes through the ctenidium, and then finally goes out. Next is aerial respiration. The pulmonary sac or lung is used in aerial respiration. In aquatic respiration, gills are used, whereas in aerial respiration, pulmonary sac or lung is used. When the snail comes to the surface of water, its left knuckle lobe projects as a tube above the water and air is drawn into it. The air goes to the pulmonary chamber and then into the lung, the bronchial chamber being shut off by the epithemia pressing against the mantle. This is the siphon, air current, and opening of pulmonary sac into the pulmonary chamber or mantle cavity. This is the pulmonary sac. These are the blood vessels, auricle, ventricle, and when the snail comes on the land, it takes in air directly into its lung through the mantle cavity, and no siphon is found by the left knuckle lobe. It occurs mainly during dry season when the water level gets reduced or while living on land. Pila does not use any respiratory tubes of siphon. The pulmonary sac directly becomes filled up with the atmospheric air to facilitate aerial respiration. The, the cell remains closed completely with the help of operculum during the time of aestivation when the pila respires with a little amount of stored air kept in the pulmonary sac. Hemocyanin dissolved in plasma acts as the respiratory pigment in pila. This is the pila globosa with its siphon up for breathing air. This is the siphon found by the left knuckle lobe, and this is the opening of the siphon, and this is the water surface. Here, one more thing I want to add is in both types of aerial respiration, alternate contractions and relaxations of the muscles of the lung wall takes place, and when the muscles contract, the floor of the lung gets arched, increasing its cavity, and air is drawn into the lung. When the muscles relax, the cavity of the lung decreases and air is expelled. Inward and outward movements of the head and the foot also help in the process of taking in air. The blood vessels in the lung take in oxygen from the air and give out carbon dioxide. Pila globosa also respires by its pulmonary sac during aestivation period by means of the air already imprisoned in the pulmonary sac. That's all in today's lecture, and in the upcoming lectures we will be discussing about the circulatory system in pila. Thanks a lot for paying the attention. Thanks again.